presentation, I'll just let you know a couple of quick things. We are recording this session, and we will make the slides available to you. So you can look for a follow-up email from us, and we will have time for Q&A. So you're welcome to type your questions in at any time. And with that, I will let Dick get us started with the presentation.
Thanks, Ann. Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you happen to be located today. You know, for those tasked with evaluating new technology for an enterprise, one of the biggest challenges that you have is not just finding a solution that meets what you need to do today, but finding something that's going to be able to accommodate the changes that you know are coming down the road. No one wants to deploy a solution just for right now. You want to have something that will carry you on into the future, no matter what your future happens to look like. Well, one of the things that we specialize in here at OpenText is providing solutions just like that. Now, as the title of this slide states, we're going to be focused primarily on Avaya PBX technologies and accommodating those that have the Avaya solutions deployed in their environment. But as you're going to see, the future-proofing aspects of our solutions that we're going to be presenting today are not just exclusively for Avaya customers. They will work in virtually any environment that's out there. So if you happen to have a mixed environment, or you are a Cisco customer, or anybody else, fill in the blank, the solutions we're going to be talking about can be applied for you as well as the Avaya folks that are out there. But first, let's take a minute to introduce ourselves to you. You may know us as Xmedius or AVST before that, but earlier this year, we were acquired by OpenText, one of the largest and most respected information management companies in the world, with our solutions being used by virtually all of the top organizations in almost any vertical market you can think of. A company with the size and the scope and the resources to be here for the long run, partnering with you. But enough about us. Let's talk about you and how we might be able to provide you with solutions that can take care of you right now and on into the future. So Avaya's been busy. Lots of news over the last couple of years or so. They've once again switched their messaging solution. IX messaging is now their go-forward solution for messaging. They partnered with RingCentral. It gives Avaya a much stronger presence and position in the cloud marketplace, which is just exploding around the world. But no one really knows exactly what that partnership is going to do and how it's going to work in the long term. And also, as many of you are aware, they've now announced they've started the process of killing off their previous messaging solution, the Avaya Aura Messaging. They've published a schedule for the end of upgrades, new systems, and we can all see as this progresses, end of support is going to be happening in the not too distant future. All of us knew this was coming. The handwriting's been on the wall for the last few years, but it's now official. Fortunately, they're really experienced in retiring messaging platforms. This is just a little graphic we've put together to kind of illustrate that. The way back in the 80s, they developed Audix. Now, Audix was a very stable, reliable messaging platform, and AT&T, Lucent, Avaya, fill in the name that applies to you, customers loved the Audix platform. Unfortunately, due to its underlying architecture, it really couldn't extend to do anything beyond just messaging. So as the world started changing and the marketplace started demanding other UC applications, like unified messaging, mobility, things like that. Audix just couldn't do those types of solutions. So Avaya never really, since the days of Audix, Avaya has never really developed any messaging platforms to address this market need. What they have done, rather, is to go out and acquire other technologies, bring them in, try to blend them with the technologies they have in-house already, release a solution to the marketplace, and then in a few years later, it's kind of wash, rinse, repeat, where they've acquired another new technology and brought it in and combined it and put it into the market. And then a couple of years later, they did the same thing. First it was Octel, then Nortel, then Adomo, then Esna, now RingCentral, whatever that's going to end up meaning. Throughout all of this time, though, we have been continually developing the CXE platform, providing a steady consistency for our customers. And the underlying architecture that we chose at the beginning, back in the early 80s, was such that we could expand the system to support the numerous advanced UC applications that the marketplace was demanding. And many of those that we had developed were available on the CXE platform years before they were available anyplace else. So if you're an Avaya customer, you've got some choices to make, and you've got to make some decisions. What are you going to do next? The PBX, Avaya is making a strong push towards the cloud. Are you going to keep your PBX on-prem? Are you going to move to the cloud? What's the replacement if you're sitting on an Aura messaging or even a modular messaging? We've talked to some customers recently still on modular messaging. Is IX messaging the best solution for you? Now, we don't want you to get the wrong impression. We don't hate Avaya by any means. That's simply not the case. We love Avaya. There are actually more CXE systems deployed on Avaya PBX than any other PBX platform. Unlike other messaging platforms, Avaya PBX, other PBX platforms, the Avaya PBXs have been some of the most robust, reliable, and consistent PBX platforms from any manufacturer. We just want to provide you with a messaging platform that can provide the same level of consistency, reliability, and feature richness and future-proofing as your Avaya PBX has provided you over the years. And that's the CXE platform. It's the most feature-rich, reliable, secure, and well-loved UC platform on the marketplace today. We seamlessly scale from small customers with just a few small handful of users up to very large systems servicing tens of thousands of users and millions of calls. And one of the things that has provided a great comfort for our customers is our unrivaled ability to accommodate not only their current environment, but to adjust to any changes to that environment easily and transparently. So as your needs change, the CXE system can easily accommodate those changes without any significant change to the application itself, providing you with some significant advantages when the inevitable environmental churn happens, whether it's PBX, changes to your email environment, going from a premise Exchange server, for example, up to Office 365, changing from Gmail to something else. Whatever those changes are, you can decide what's best for your organization, knowing that we're going to be right there with you as you make those changes. Now, as you can see from this slide here, the CXE is more than just a messaging platform. It's a true multi-application solution. And one of the unique things about us is we do very little, virtually no bundling of licensing on the CXC platform. Everything that you see here are all just licensed modules of the core CXE application. And you can individually add these licenses as needed by your application. So yeah, that saves you a lot of hassle and saves you a lot of money in the long run from not having to purchase licensing, a bundled license that provides functionality that you're never going to need or never going to use. You can really tailor the licensing of the system to meet your specific unique requirements and those unique requirements of your users without having to worry about having extraneous functionality included in there. And of course, we've talked about our interoperability, our ability to come into your environment the way it looks today and to continue on with maintaining the functionality that you've become accustomed to and used to, regardless of the changes that happen to your environment elsewhere. Again, email, PBX, backend database information, things like that. We can accommodate those without having to make significant changes to the application itself. So let's spend a little bit of time now talking about a number of these applications. Obviously, in the next 15, 20 minutes, we can't talk about everything, but we're going to talk about some of the key features and functionality that we provide and some of the advantages that they can give you moving forward. Starting out with the core application, voicemail. We've been continually developing our platform and our application, including voicemail and the messaging aspect of it, for almost 40 years now. And we rarely ever remove features from the system. We just keep adding new functionality to the system with each new release. What that means is we have the broadest and deepest feature set available of any platform that's out there. So any type of application that you're doing now, if you have an older legacy messaging platform, or that you say, man, we used to be able to do this, we can't do it on the platform we're on right now, or a messaging or modular messaging just doesn't support that. We'll be able to provide those capabilities to you and that functionality to you, include and even expand the capabilities that are available. Things like transcription. Available, that's traditionally available for unified messaging users on most solutions. But what about those organizations that have communities of users for whom messages, they don't want those to be in email. They want to keep those messages off email for compliance reasons, things like that. But they still would like to have transcription. We can provide transcription for unified messaging users and non-unified messaging users as well. Our architecture is completely secure, providing end-to-end message security. So whether those messages are at rest, in transport, or being managed within some of our, any of our endpoints, they remain completely encrypted, completely secure from end to end. As voice messages carry vitally important information for your organization, maintaining the security of that is of vital interest to most organizations. And we can provide that very easily on our system as standard features. It's just the configuration of the system that enables the security measures that we have built into it. Voicemail transcription. I've mentioned this before. Most of the time you see this just for unified messaging users where they're managing their messages within their email interface. We can provide it for those users as well as for non-unified messaging users. So whether you manage your messages in your email inbox just with text messages, or you're getting them through our web interface, or you want to use our mobile client. you can have access to the transcription of those messages to allow you to quickly read through the message, get the gist of the message, what it's about, and make the determination without having to call into the system, listen to the message, and all the time that takes. It allows you to quickly and easily prioritize your messages against what you're doing right now, and allowing you to take care of the most important things for you in a timely manner. We support multiple providers for transcription, and the architecture of the transcription is provided by a cloud service provider, be that voice-based. We also support Google and Microsoft's transcription service. And as we receive the message, we cache the original of that message and send a copy securely up to the transcription provider of choice. They transcribe the message and then send securely, encrypted, formatted, send that message back to us while they are purging all copies of that message off of their servers to maintain complete message security. Once we receive that transcription, we then post it to the user's mailbox. And again, whether they are a unified messaging user or just a voicemail user, they are able to either listen to the message play or read the transcription of that message, streamlining the user's ability to access those messages and manage them quickly and easily. Now, we talked a little bit about unified messaging. We have supported unified messaging for more than 25 years. First unified messaging solution released back in the mid-90s. We have more experience than any other organization in deploying and unified messaging solutions in any email environment that you may have within your enterprise. We support integration to a single email server, to multiple email servers, to multiple different types of email servers. So maybe you have an on-premise Exchange server and you're starting the migration to Office 365. Or you have that Exchange server on-prem and you want to go to Gmail, or you have some other type of environments. Maybe through mergers and acquisitions, you end up having 3 or 4 different email environments. We can integrate to multiple email systems simultaneously, allowing you to still provide unified messaging to all of your users, regardless of what email platform they happen to live on. And we provide some additional features which are pretty slick. Click to call, for example. Our plugin for Outlook or Notes provides a click to call feature. So either from voice messages, the ANI captured with voice messages, a telephone number that someone spoke in a voice message and is contained in the transcription of that message. Maybe your personal contacts or personal address book, or even from an email message that may contain a telephone number. A user can easily highlight that number and with a single click of the mouse be able to have that number auto-dialed for them from their PBX telephone or other designated telephone that they want. So full message access and management, any email environment, and even click to call with our unified messaging solution. It really makes us a superior solution to meet your unified messaging needs. And we've been supporting Office 365 integration for more than a decade now, providing a lot of experience with that, supporting all of the advanced security features that are required by Office 365. We have a mobile client, a mobile app for iOS and Android devices, providing non-unified messaging users mobile access to their voice messages. And as you add and enable additional functionality like our mobility features, our Find Me, Follow Me, mobile number protection, things like that, as you enable those for particular individual users, the features of this mobile application automatically expand to to meet those, to provide access to the settings of those additional features that you've enabled for a particular user. Now, one of the with announcements recently by Nuance and their speech attendants being discontinued, speech directories and speech being able to call in and easily and quickly navigate through the system using speech has been a big deal. A lot of activity we've seen over the last year or so over directory applications. Now, one thing about our speech recognition, it goes beyond just a directory application. Speech recognition has infused its way into many other applications, and that's one of the benefits of having a single platform providing multiple applications, is that you don't have features that are used for part of the application, and then you have to deploy a separate platform, and the speech doesn't travel over to there. Having everything on one platform means that we can integrate all of these features together, and speech recognition is one of those. That whether it's through the auto attendants, any interface that outside callers interact with, user interface, and other places, speech recognition is fully available for your callers, for your users, and can be enabled as needed. Not all of your auto attendants have to be speech enabled. Maybe some are more appropriate as a DTMF interface. Not all users have to have speech enablement. You can enable it for those users that need it, thus limiting the amount of speech that has to be licensed on the system itself. But if you do provide a speech-enabled directory, we do have our automated attendance is very powerful. It does more than just be a directory for transferring. There's up to date, depending on how your system is licensed, there's up to 23 different actions that can be executed from any selection made within the automated attendant. So it's not just give me a name, I'll transfer your call. We can do many other functions as well, things like fax on demand, pre-recorded announcements, even full-blown IVR applications can be triggered from within the automated attendant. But for speech-enabled automated attendants, we support global directories, segregated directories by location, department, things like that, unlimited number of aliases, duplicate name disambiguation, extensive duplicate name disambiguation, unlimited amount of scheduling that can be provided so that different departments, different locations, geographically dispersed locations can each have their own automated attendance menus built, and each referencing their own directory if needed, and each providing their own schedule. So one office opens at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, another office opens up at 9 a.m. Mountain Time. They can have their own schedule, which is 2 hours different from the East Coast office and facility, and maintain their own schedule and as is required by them. Now, most automated attendants, speech-enabled automated attendants, look something like this. At any time during this greeting, you can simply say the name of the person or the department you wish to reach, and continue on. I say the caller says John Tyler, and the system transfers it. This is the way almost every other auto attendant speech directory works. Now, another benefit with having all of our functionality integrated together on a single platform, not just the auto attendant, but the messaging and other aspects as well, means that we can extend the functionality to expanded applications. For example, we can do this. We can do just what you see here, where we give the greeting, say the name, transfer the call. But we can also do things like call screening, where we can ask who's calling, and the caller will say their name, Mark Reed. Now, when we transfer the call, we just don't transfer it and forget it. when you as the user, when John Tyler answers this call, they won't be immediately connected to Mark Reed. They'll be connected to the system, and the system will announce who's calling. You have a call from Mark Reed. To accept the call, press 1. To reject, press 9. Or say accept call or reject call. With additional licensing, we could, for those users that require it, we can provide additional call handling options. What this gives you is it gives your users the ability to prioritize, again, what they're doing. Sometimes the work that you're doing is more important than the call that's interrupting it. Not that the call is unimportant, it's just prioritizing. The work that you're doing is a higher priority at that particular moment than the call that's interrupting it. And this gives you as the user the ability to determine which is more appropriate, which is more important to you. We can extend that on with our mobility features to provide an intelligent call routing options for users that automatically can adjust which telephone devices are utilized to present calls to you based on any number of different factors, your normal work hours, normal daily schedule. We can take a look at your calendar, and if you're in a meeting, we can handle the call differently than if you're not in a meeting as seen in your calendar. If you're working from home, we can make the first point of contact be your home telephone rather than your office telephone. Doesn't make very much sense for the call to ring at your desk telephone in your office if you're working from home. And in these days of COVID, where a particular user is working from on a particular day or part of a day can change. It can change from day to day. And having a system that can automatically make those adjustments without any user interaction at all, it can be extremely valuable to your users and make you much more responsive to your customers, the people calling your organization. They're getting to the person that they need much more quickly and efficiently as that user goes through their day. The personal assistant mobility license that we have for your users that are more mobile, not only do we have that advanced find me, follow me capability, but we provide them speech access to any number of different functions, not only getting access to their messages, but access to their calendar, to their contacts, to place calls. They could, maybe they get an email message saying that they need to talk to somebody. I had this happen to me. I was driving out of state one time, and my phone beeped saying I have a new message. I simply tapped my Bluetooth and said, call voicemail. My hands are on the wheel. My eyes are on the road. Once the system answered, I said, get new messages. The message that I received was from my boss saying we needed to talk about a project. I said, call back. And the system transferred me to my boss. We spoke for a while, decided we needed to set up a conference call with a couple other people. So when he hung up the call, I was right back in my mailbox. I didn't have to do anything to make that happen. I just stayed on the line and I was back in my mailbox. At that point, I was able to say, get my calendar for next Tuesday. The system went and read all my appointments for next Tuesday, found a time, and created an appointment. I said, schedule a meeting for next Tuesday at 2 p.m. for 60 minutes. I said the names of the people I wanted to invite, recorded an introduction, and the system sent out a meeting request on my behalf through Exchange, through Outlook, as if I was sitting at my desk. So for your mobile users, it allows them to be much more connected, much more accessible, and have access to the things that they need in a much more efficient manner. Now, our architecture that underlies all of this functionality and all of these applications that we just talked about provides unrivaled survivability, high availability, disaster recovery. You can see that this system is integrated to 3 different PBXs. different colors here. We can even have multiple PBXs to the same call server as you expand the system out. We can have call servers at remote locations and that integrate to the PBX. So at a single data center, multiple data centers, even remote locations, to provide the scalability and reliability that you require for a mission-critical application like we're providing, not only the messaging, but also the mobility solutions and others that we haven't even talked about today, like such as our call center solution, our broadcast notification features, and other types of solutions like that, all have the reliability and scalability that you require in order to provide that capability uninterrupted. So we thought we'd take a look at a couple of real-life cases, some real-life customers that are using our solutions within an Avaya PBX environment. The first one is a large healthcare organization, over 10,000 employees, multiple locations across the areas that this particular facility serviced. This customer was an old Nortel customer. They had a CS1000 PBX, which of course we know the handwriting's on the wall for that. That is going to be going away at some time in the future. Was Avaya still their direction they wanted to go? They didn't want to have to be locked into that. It most likely was going to be, but they didn't want to be locked into that. They needed a platform that gave them the freedom to go whatever direction was appropriate for them. They had a long proof of concept period that they went through, comparing us side by side to Avaya solutions and other solutions that were out there. And after that, they really saw that the CXE platform far exceeded their expectations in all of the various aspects, from mobility to survivability and architecture, messaging, how easy the system is to administer on an ongoing basis, things like that. They decided they wanted to centralize their messaging, even though they had a couple dozen locations and facilities around the area. They were going to centralize the messaging platform, and they found that the CXE platform really provided what they needed and the freedom they needed to accommodate whatever direction they were going to go in the future once they were forced to move on from their CS1000. A financial institution, very large private equity firm. They manage hundreds of billions of dollars of assets from major organizations that are obviously quite recognizable. They had multiple locations around the world that they needed to service. We were replacing, again, an Avaya modular messaging system. This one was a couple of years ago that we deployed this solution. They needed high availability, disaster recovery. The architecture was a key factor for them. They needed this to be geographically dispersed, and they had some very unique geographic dispersed requirements that we were able to accommodate. That's one thing about having such a flexible architecture as ours, is that we can generally accommodate whatever your requirements are. Even if you have specialized requirements, we have built our system to accommodate your environment. We don't require you to make changes to your environment to accommodate us. And for a financial institution like this, obviously a large percentage of their users are mobile. And the mobility applications that we were able to provide was really a key factor for them. We talked about security. They needed a high level of message security for the organization. The healthcare customer we talked about before was the same way. They didn't want messages for most of their users living in Exchange in their email platform. and we allow them to maintain high levels of security for their messages without sacrificing accessibility to those messages for their users. They still had full access to them, full and secure access to them, regardless of where they were and what they happened to be doing. And we have hundreds, thousands of other use cases we could give you, thousands of other customers around the world that have a wide variety of applications and needs that we were able to meet. And many times we do go up against IX messaging, Cisco Unity, others in side-by-side proof of concepts. And almost without exception, when we go in side-by-side in a proof of concept, we win those deals because the things that we have just kind of covered the top of here today, the advantages that we offer, they're able to see firsthand and compare with what's offered by our competitors. And we more often than not win those deals when they can actually see and get their hands on our system. So we'd like to open it up now for any questions that may have been posted. Ann, do we have anything today?
Okay, excellent. Yes, so there's one or two in here. You're welcome to type your question into the Q&A or the chat box. I've got both of them open here. So first question, you mentioned Callpilot. Is there a Callpilot user interface?
Yeah, there is, and we support it. So if you still do have a Callpilot, if you're one of those handful of people that still have your Callpilot system, migrating to the CXE platform will require virtually no end user training. A little bit of communication, obviously, but our telephone user interface emulation is considered to be the most accurate out there when it comes to mimicking the systems that we have the keystrokes required for message management. So yes, we do support Callpilot along with many other platforms, Centigram. I could go on and on, all of the Octel platforms, the other Avaya platforms, Audix, things like that. So yes, we do.
Okay. Next question, do you have feature comparison with IX messaging?
Yeah, so
we can they're looking for some documents, not to cover right now, right?
No, I wasn't going to cover them all right now. There are a number of significant advantages, and what we'd like to do in these type of situations is to spend a little time with you and talk about what your unique needs are, so that we can really tailor what we're providing to your unique needs. If you don't have a need for IVR, there's no sense in sending information out like that. So let us get in contact with you and set up a time where we can set up a conference call with you to discuss what your requirements are, and then we're more than happy to provide feature comparisons between us and whatever other platforms that you're wanting to talk about.
Okay, sounds good. Well, that wraps up the questions, so I think we can go ahead and close out the webinar. So I'll just let you know one more time, we will send a follow-up email, most likely tomorrow or Friday, with a link to this recording as well as a link to the slides in case you'd like to review them. And we'll just say thanks for taking the time out of your day to join us. And thanks, Dick, for the presentation. And have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.